perspective, getting to know him and getting acclimated to the type of program he'll run here?
Yeah, he brings good energy, and he's a big camaraderie guy. You know, we were out on one of the fields doing some PFPs, and he just was kind of stressing the importance of being together. You know, high fives, and just kind of picking each other up, and just really kind of putting emphasis on that like camaraderie piece of what being a team is.
What does off-season look like for you? Just physically, what were you able to do, and just how are you feeling now coming into spring?
Good. Can we just run through all the cliches? I've had a great off season, best shape of my life. But no, I mean, I don't travel. We don't do anything. I kind of have to be kind of disciplined in my routine, and this arm's got some miles on it, so I can't just take a week off and do nothing. So it was a good off season. Staying busy. My oldest son's in high school. He's playing basketball and baseball. My middle son's playing baseball, and my youngest son is a mountain man. So we're pretty busy in the sale house. But it was good. It was nice to just kind of be home. We're living out of a suitcase during the season. We're traveling all over the country and staying in hotels. So being home is almost like a vacation for me.
What was your reaction when you heard about Schwellenbach, and have you had a chance to talk to him about it, and just how is he doing?
Yeah, it's tough. I feel like I can, put myself in those shoes. I've been down that road plenty of times, and it's just tough. You feel bad for him. I know he wants to. He obviously wants to be out there. He wants to pitch, and he worked his butt off trying to get back. And it's just a tough scenario when you rehab and you think you're done with it, and then you get going, and then you kind of get to the end of it, and then something happens. That deflating feeling is definitely there. So but as his teammates and guys in his corner, we just got to pick him up and let him know that we have his back, and however this shakes out, it shakes out. But I think he's prepared to put in the work. He's been down this road before, and I think on the backside of this, he's going to be fine.
On that note, Weiss talked about he had a meeting with the pitchers that everyone's going to get an opportunity. We ran into injuries last year. We're already dealing with it this year. How much do you feel a sense of responsibility to kind of be that guy that a lot of these younger guys can lean on? Because a lot of people have referenced you as someone who's just an amazing resource in this clubhouse.
Well, it's important. I think the more time you spend in this game, the more scenarios you get put in, and you just, I would hope, gain knowledge and learn from experience. On that front, I think, you look down this row right here, we got some pretty good names, and I think, everyone has confidence in the ability. I think we just have to stay on the field, which was just a huge problem for us last year. So, you get a year away for some of these guys with some of the big injuries, with Spencer coming back, and Lopey and Holmes and stuff like that. So just being able to put some of those injuries in the rearview mirror, and not coming into a season with something, being able to kind of gain some ground and build off of that. So again, the confidence is there. It's just staying on the field is going to be very important for us.
Chris, how big were those last couple months for Waldrop last year?
It was a lot of fun. You saw, I saw him when he first got called up, and then kind of the difference that he had when he was here last year. I don't know how many of you guys were out there for that live BP yesterday, but that was that was impressive. And he's got everything you want in a young guy to have success in the big leagues. He has an unbelievable work ethic. He's got it in between the ears. And I mean, the stuff just kind of speaks for itself. I mean, you can watch this guy throw 3 pitches and go, okay, well, it's there. Well, now what's all the other stuff like? And all the other stuff checks out. So this is going to be. I'm excited for this year for him.
Chris, Wald had said yesterday he was trying to build on relationships, stay in contact more with guys in the offseason, now stepping into the manager role. I mean, how has your relationship with him developed? I know he was in a different role as a bench and infield coach the last couple of years, but any conversations that you guys had over the offseason that stood out to you?
Yeah, we talked a couple times. He's in the Fort Myers area sometimes in the offseason as well. So, but me and Walt, we've always had a good relationship. I've always enjoyed my time with him. Even obviously he was a bench coach the last couple of years, and I was very, very happy to see him get the job, because you kind of want someone with with a sense of how things run and operate, and he's got a relationship with all the guys in here. But more importantly, he really cares about obviously his guys, but he cares about this organization. We had a meeting the other day, and he was stressing the emphasis of what it means, to be an Atlanta Brave, and talking about the people in the past and the respect that you need to show to the uniform and the pride that you should have wearing this uniform. And I think that's important too, and he has that. You go down to the food room, he's down there eating breakfast. He's an open book. You can talk to him about anything. I just hope he's still there in the weight room before the game, lifting half the house.
Is that something you used to do? Was he lifting before games?
Oh yeah, and it's not fun lifting next to him, especially when you look like this.
Chris, what do you make of the balls and strikes challenging system?
It is what it is. That's, I guess, another baseball cliche, but I'm not going to worry myself with that. I have a job to do, and that's pitch. I'll let the other people call balls and strikes.
Do you come? Do you? I mean, it'll be an option for you, though. I mean, is that something you have to work into your game plan? Like, I won't challenge up until this inning or this situation or 0-2 or base it.
I will never challenge a pitch. I will never do it. I won't do it.
Why?
Because I'm not an umpire. That's their job.
That's fair enough.
I'm a starting pitcher. I've never called balls and strikes in my life. Plus, I'm greedy, and I know that. I think they're all strikes. Especially the catchers nowadays, the way they catch the ball, the way they receive, they make them all look like strikes. And again, I'm a starting pitcher, and I'm greedy. I like pitches that are on the corner that might be a little off. In the heat of moment, especially you throw a good pitch, you got Murph or Baldy or whoever back there, and they kind of catch it the right way. I mean, they make a lot of balls look like strikes, and I don't want to take away one of those challenges that might be needed later on in the game. And I've dealt with it before. It's across all games and my entire career, there's been balls called strikes and strikes called balls, and you just kind of deal with it. Now, if my catcher has something to say about it, I'll leave that to him. But I've dealt with both sides, and I'm fine to kind of keep dealing with it.
We talked about how it's early to be getting in live ABs, but you said pitchers are just kind of ready at this point. How do you kind of feel, and what was kind of your feeling after coming off the mound yesterday after pitching well in the live ABs?
Good. I think off-season programs have gotten a little bit more dialed in over the last handful, maybe even 10 years. Spring training is, you kind of get here more ready. I mean, for me, I definitely did. Last year I didn't really like how my spring training went, and I definitely didn't like how I started the season. So I definitely put more emphasis on being more prepared day one here. That's why I basically went straight to live BPs. I haven't thrown any bullpens here, but I did enough work in the off season to be prepared for that. So again, I want to be ready. I want to be prepared. So when we start this season, I'm ready to go, and I don't kind of do what I did last year.
Do you feel like a sense of urgency with the way last season ended, not in the playoffs? I mean, do you feel like that wasn't really a full sample size of this team? And when healthy, how good do you think this team can be overall from lineup to rotation?
Yeah, I think if you look at last season as a whole, I think you can kind of chalk that up to that's not really who we are. Again, like I said before, I think just staying on the field is going to be very important, obviously from a pitching standpoint, but, as a whole from our whole team. So, and again, I think we should probably put more emphasis on getting out of the gate. That was a tough start last year, and I think it's important to get off on the right foot. That obviously builds confidence, within each individual, but also as a team. Especially having a lot of some new guys here and a new staff. Getting off to a good start is going to be important for us.
A lot.
After you won the Cy Young, you said, you entered that 2024 season not knowing if there was going to be another one. I know you don't want to look ahead, but at the same time, how good is it to enter this year knowing there could be multiple seasons ahead?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just don't really want to get too far ahead of myself, right? I've honestly never really been in this position before with, not really knowing what's going on next year. But, don't really worry myself with that. I've never been, I don't wear a suit. I'm not a businessman. I'm a baseball player, so my job is to show up here and play baseball, and that's what I'm going to do. Whether it's I got 5 more years or 5 more days, like I have a job to do, and I like kind of focusing on that. So, but I guess last time I said I was going to retire, it ended up being good. So I guess I'm retired now.
Chris, on that note, is it your hope then, do you plan this is your last place? Is this where you want to retire?
I would like to. I really like being here. These guys obviously gave me a shot and, kind of picked me up from off the ground. I ended 23 kind of limping into the off season, and everyone's been great to me here, and I really enjoy being here.
A lot's been made of Drake Baldwin's year last year, Rookie of the Year. What's an underrated quality about him that maybe you see that we all don't see just in the play of game every day?
I don't know if he has any underrated qualities. I think he's just kind of on full display all the time. I think obviously the talent it speaks for itself. You don't win Rookie of the Year without the talent. The maturity, to be a young guy, especially, again, I can't emphasize enough how hard being a catcher is in this game. And to be a young guy, kind of get thrown right into the mix. And again, go look at his first month last year. He was hitting balls hard. All the peripherals were there. It's just the numbers weren't really in his favor. And to not get discouraged and to kind of, trust in the process. I mean, that's kind of the definition of trusting the process is not having success, but knowing you're doing the right thing and just not getting the results. So I definitely appreciated that about him. And he looks good this year, too, coming in the spring. And, there's a little bit more confidence there. It's impossible not to. So we're excited to have him.